Hi guys, I'm continuing with our long promised video of the hardy plants from our side garden and of our front garden. I'll try to go one by one, telling you their names and a little bit about them, and hopefully you'll find it useful. Okay, let's give it a go. The tallest one over there is Cordyline australis. It's not as big as the one that we have at the back garden, but it was actually planted at the same time at the same size. So as you can see, there is quite a variation in the rate of growth. Still a lovely tree. It has flowered a lot of times, so basically after flowering it's splitting the branches. You can see actually the flowers at the top. They're very beautiful, very nice scent, and the bees love it. It's a bit too early in the morning for the bees probably, but usually it's for bees collecting pollen over there. Another tree fern in the corner. As you can see, Dicksonia antarctica. It's a nice one, and you're lucky to actually see the fronds unfurling. This is the most exciting time for a tree fern lover. Some would affectionately call it tree fern porn even. I'm not one of them. This is a bit of a different view of it. And now I will try to show you the new fronds over there. So yeah. We have a small Chamaerops radicalis over here that actually it was a pup of the one that we had in the back garden, so we just split them and put one here, and this one, although small, it's growing and it's very nice. It's a nice thing to fill up some empty space. Standard Zantedeschia is not yet flowering. It has been much bigger size than that, but it didn't like too much this particular winter, so it's still recovering a bit. I'm sure soon there will be flowers. There are some at the back. Butia catharinensis, a small one. So I planted it here maybe 2 or 3 years ago. After being 2 years at the back, it didn't like the place where it was planted in the back garden, and it wasn't going well, so I decided to give it a go. It's a bit of a special microclimate here, as it's between 2 hot walls and it's quite sheltered. So since it has been here, it has recovered quite nicely. As you can see now, it's really healthy and it's growing. Small Yucca elephantipes jewel. Again, it's a pup from the one we have at the back. You will notice a pattern here. A lot of these plants, you can actually get a new plant out of it and use it to make some other place looking nice. So yeah, this one has been split again maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it's been growing nicely. Fascicualia bicolor. It never gets too high. It's a bit of a spiky plant, bromeliad. The main attraction of it, although it looks quite nice as it is with the spiky leaves, the main attraction of it is when the center of it becomes quite a colorful show. As the name suggests, few colors. So at the moment I cannot show it to you, but sometimes when it happens I will show you. A small Sago Palm here, Cycas revoluta. I picked it up from the bargain bin in B&Q. Must have been 7 years ago. Must have been, I don't know, 6-7 pounds, not a lot of money. And I really liked it because it had quite an unusual trunk. I'll try and show you. At the moment it's not really that visible, but actually it had an old trunk, which a new kind of trunk began to appear from it. So yeah, it's not doing spectacularly well here, but it is growing. Every other year is having a new flash of leaves. Another pink cordyline. This one you can see it's actually moving towards the light to escape the shadow, so it's kind of leaning in the direction of the path, so we had to kind of keep it in line. That's why we've used a bit of bondage techniques here. So yeah, it's a beautiful plant. Probably one of the most unlikely survivors. The big double-trunked Washingtonian robusta. Why is it such an unlikely survivor? Because I bought it really small. It was a clearance at the flower store, and they were really small, and they were like 3 for 5 pounds. So this particular one, the other two perished, and one of them would have been alive if we didn't, in all our wisdom, decide to move it, because we had other plans for the place, but then the plans changed. So yeah, but this one actually survived. It was 4 trunks initially. It lost 2 of the trunks during some bad winters, and there have been bad winters. It's been here for, I don't know, maybe 9 years now, or something close to it. So it's been growing and growing, and I'll try and show you the trunks too. So they're actually, that is the smaller one, and as you can see, it is a much bigger one. Again, I don't think this would have been alive if it wasn't for the special microclimate. I have had comments that it's too close to the wall, and it is. But the alternative would have meant that probably it would have died by now. So, all in all, I'm quite happy with it. It seems to be quite clever. As it has been growing, it's begun to kind of move away from the wall by itself, as you can see. So it's now a nice curve towards the outside, and it's growing, and I've been enjoying it for almost 10 years now. Another unlikely survivor, Brachea brandegii. It was bought as really a seedling. It was ordered from Holland at the time, before Brexit and all the problems that it caused. So we were able to order some very good plants, or interesting plants, or try some plants. I didn't give it much chance of survival, but it was €5 or something. So I just decided to give it a try, and it has survived quite severe winters to my surprise. Again, maybe the microclimates, maybe that it is under the canopy of the other plants helped. But it is still here, and it is growing, and I'm quite enjoying seeing it. A creeping dasylirion weavery. This was a pup from the big plant we have in the back garden. Again, as I said, you will notice the theme. We split it, we try to root it, we put it here. As you can see, as most of them are trying to reach the light, so it's been creeping towards the light rather than growing upwards, but it gives it a different shape, and it's quite interesting to look at. So we don't mind at all. Another Yucca desmetiana here that was sold to me as Avifolia purpurea. You can see the purple color, which becomes more visible when there is kind of sun exposure. So this one has a bit of a trunk as well. It never gets too big and it's quite lovely to look at. Phoenix canariens here. Probably for me, well, the most hardy palm of the phoenixes in our climate. They say that some would take a bit more frost and a bit lower temperature, but combined with our rain situation here, it is the one that has proven probably to be the most useful to use. So yeah, this one has been here maybe 4 years now, and it was a small plant again when we bought it, but it is growing and growing, and it does become a monster at the end. Hopefully we will be able to see it. Dasylirion wongissimum. You can see the spikes. It's lovely architectural plant. It's rather slow growing, but it is growing nevertheless, and we quite enjoy seeing it here. Trachycarpus fortunei over there. We bought it from a flower store, it wasn't looking too good when we bought it, to be honest with you. So we decided to kind of try and rescue it. Again, a bargain. I remember our neighbor telling us it's never going to survive, but it actually proved a fighter. So now it is in root health and it's growing quite nicely. Dasylirion cerotifolium. It's a lovely plant, another Dasylirion, another spiky monster. It had damage maybe 3 years ago in the growing point, and it's been trying to recover ever since. I do think it will eventually. Hopefully we don't have a very bad winter, because it seems to be continually pushing new ones. But yeah, it has lost a little bit of its appearance. Even if the growing point is damaged, I do hope that it will actually start growing from 2 new heads. So it's a quite established plant, it's quite nice, so fingers crossed. Our biggest Agave americana, quite spiky as you can see. You have to take care around it. At this size, it's throwing pups. We already removed one this year and planted it in another place. So yeah, it's a lovely plant. It will grow even bigger than that. I've seen quite some monsters, so looking forward to seeing it develop. Our monkey puzzle tree, Araucaria araucana. Why is it monkey puzzle? Apparently a famous barrister ages ago said that even a monkey would find it a tough puzzle to climb this tree. As you can see, it is very well protected. It can become a monster too, but it has been really slow growing, so we've put it in a quite crowded place. I don't think it will grow too much too fast. So we've had already many years of enjoyment, and I'm sure we'll have many more. Olea europea, olive tree. It's a very nice one. Actually, I should be able to show you that it has a lot of olives. Let me see if I can make it visible. Yep. You can see the olives there. Okay, some other. Some others here. It's a lovely plant, adding some exotic interest. I've never tried eating the olives. Apparently there is quite a specific process of preparation before you're able to eat them, which I'm not willing to give it a go as yet. Maybe one day I will. Chamaerops humilis cerifera, one of the Chamaeropses, the blue one. It's a lovely plant. We bought it again as a very small plant. We were patient, we waited for it, and now we can enjoy its appearance. Multi-headed, as you can see, bushy. Quite a nice one. Another cordyline, and you'll be really quite surprised to know that it's probably at the same age as the big monster in the back garden, and the much bigger than it but smaller cordyline that I just showed you in the side garden. It is very much the place where it is, the conditions, so it's much drier here, and it had suffered damage before, and it flowered in a which they normally do when they're in trouble. So as you can see, the trunk here, it split into few, but just one survived, and then it took years to recover and to start growing properly. We have this little succulents, as you can see, in the circles around each plant. That's my wife's idea. It's lovely, I love it. So yeah, this one is now, I believe, back to full health. Still not growing as much as the others, but I don't really want it to. So quite enjoyable to watch. Another Sago Palm, Cycas revoluta. This is the one that we probably had the longest time. It does throw a new flush every couple of years, and it is growing. So yeah, we still haven't removed some of the old leaves from previous flush. We tend to not remove them before they become really brown, because I believe the plant uses the chlorophyll in it, the new flush. So we're not in a hurry. Quite nice one. Small Yucca rostrata. Again, it was a very small plant when we bought it, and now it has developed in maybe 3-4 years to become full head, a little bit of trunk, and it's growing quite nicely. Brachia armata, the blue Mexican palm. I love this one, maybe because the ground is quite dry here and it is kind of a desert creature. It has enjoyed being here since it was put here maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I'm not sure again, but it's been quite a lot of years. As you can imagine, it was smaller then. It was keeping maybe 2 leaves at the time, and now we have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 on the way. So it's looking much more spectacular one. I really love this palm. Butia odorata, previously known as capitata, another one of those. This one has enjoyed being here ever since we bought it. Apparently it was a good one that we bought, some of them take quite a bit of time to actually get used to their new surroundings, but this must have been cold grown because it took no time at all to grow, and it's been growing nicely ever since with no problems. Very spectacular. Another Washingtonian robusta, single trunk. It's been taking its time to get going here. Usually it's quite fast growing palm. Well, maybe the fastest growing, come to think of it, of all palms that I've seen in the UK. But this one, it has taken its time, it had a bit of damage, it's been struggling a bit, but bit by bit it's establishing itself. It's been here again maybe 5 years now, and the last couple of years it has started growing rather nicely. So yeah, I believe at the end of this growing season we'll be looking at a quite nice specimen. Tall, single-stemmed Yucca elephantipes jewel. After flowering it has many heads now, as you can see, and when that happens it does not grow in height that much because it has to feed all of the heads. So maybe 4 or 5 heads at the moment. So yeah, it's a bit of a different look than the one we have at the back. Still very nice. Chamaerops humilis. This one we planted on the day of the first birthday of our son, so I can date it pretty correctly. So yeah, it has been here more than 9 years. It was quite smaller than it is now, but as it is quite tough, now it's becoming, it's never had really big problems, it's been growing, and now it's becoming quite spectacular actually. Small Jubaea chilensis. As I told you, they are not considered very fast growers. It had a bit of problems at the beginning, but I do believe it's growing out of them now, and slowly but surely it's picking up speed, and maybe it will need a couple of more leaves to look much better than it is looking now. Still, I enjoy seeing them at different phases of their development, so it's a quite nice palm. Small standard green Yucca elephantipes. This one was a branch of the big one that we have got, which we cut off and we rooted and then we planted, and it has been growing. One of the best things about yuccas is that you can usually actually get another plant out of it when it grows and when it branches. So yeah, quite nice one. Butia eriospatha. It's a quite nice one. It came with a big question mark over it. It had a difficult journey on the way here, so we got it at a really discounted price because the roots were not in good condition, and it was touch and go whether it will survive or it will perish. We decided to give it a try. A bit of care, a bit of luck, and it has been growing, and it's growing nicely. I do believe it's established now, so yeah, all in all, quite a good deal for us. Small Australian bottle tree, Trachycarpus rupestris, I believe it's pronounced. As you can see, maybe the reddish swelling at the bottom. So if you see a big one, or much bigger one, it looks a little bit like a bottle. Well, quite a bit like a bottle actually. So yeah, this is a small one. It has been here for maybe 3 years now. It doesn't do spectacularly well. As you can see, the leaves are a bit spotted, but it does throw new leaves every year and it tends to keep them. So hopefully it will gather speed and it will gather strength, and we'll be able to see it as a bit more of a specimen. The last one I wanted to show you is this yucca. We have quite a few of them at the front. We use them as focal points. These are taken from our large multi-headed yucca that is spreading in the back garden. So we've used them as focal points at different places in the front garden, the border. But I wanted to show you this one. As you can see, the flower is forming. It's not a snake, it's an emerging flower. So yeah, quite lovely to look at, and it's quite interesting actually. What is even more interesting is that it tends to follow the sun, so it kind of leans towards the direction of the sun. So yeah, it will grow much bigger than it is at the moment, with white flowers. So it's quite the sight, and the bees love it. Okay guys, we had quite a good tour, I believe. So we have few more phormiums in there and some other things that are planted, but they're not really that spectacular as yet. So I'm trying to keep to the ones that I can show you and tell you a little bit about. So yeah, enjoy your morning, enjoy your weekend, and then enjoy your week afterwards. Have a good day.